Last week, South Australia passed legislation to ban live odds during sports broadcasts. And now, a similar law looks set to be applied to the whole of Australia, with the new restrictions confining all gambling ads to before and after the match. And I have to say, I love gambling after the match. I've won almost every time I've played.
Who do you think won the match you just watched? The team that won is paying $1.10. The team that lost is on $3.50.
See, I know which team won, but the odds of the team that lost are better. Now, according to the Australian Wagering Commission, the ban could drive more punters to unregulated offshore bookies, which obviously is a problem because of their lack of regulation, but on the upside, it does make it harder for loan sharks to intimidate you when they have to do it via Skype. But with betting and live odds having been part of sport for years, what's happened over the last 12 months to prompt the government to suddenly clamp down and ban this long-running tradition?
With 4 generations of Waterhouse betting in my blood, I know what punters want.
Nick Richardson, I just blacked out briefly. What motivated the government's decision?
Well, some say it was motivated by the immorality of gambling in televised sport, but it feels far more likely it was motivated by not wanting to see Tom Waterhouse's face on my TV ever again. Live odds in sport have been around for years, but it was only once Tom started popping up, like the Microsoft paperclip, rearing his disturbingly symmetrical face every ad break and halftime show, that Julia Gillard decided this would not stand. That tiny face, while tiny, obviously has power.
Of course. So what's Tom Waterhouse going to do now?
Well, it's tough to find work when you're not allowed to do your job anymore. Just ask Australia's unemployed hangman community, or that two-up ringkeeper who's out of work 364 days a year. So Waterhouse has to find another use for his touch of death, and I think he must use that power for good. He was instrumental in getting the harmful industry of live odds banned in Australia, so it's time for him to assist in destroying other harmful industries. We need to reduce our carbon emissions. I know I'd rather take the bus than fill up my tank at a Waterhouse. Online piracy is a real problem, but I think everyone would rather wait a couple of hours for the newest Game of Thrones instead of torrenting them from the Tom Waterhouse Bay. And we've got to stop people smoking cigarettes. If we get Tommy's mug on the packet instead of that picture of a rotting foot, people will avoid them like they give you cancer.
Okay, so you're saying that Tom Waterhouse could have a career as some sort of negative PR man?
Exactly. Finally, Australia could have a Waterhouse who's a force for good, not just hats.
And finally tonight, 2 international photographers have withdrawn their works from Sydney's Vivid Festival after several of their images were banned for being not appropriate to be shown in a public place. Now, I know art can be pretty confronting, so what are we talking about here? Is it photos of war, of famine?
Pictures of landscapes, mostly void of people altogether, were deemed distressing.
To whom? Did the trees look like giant pee-pees? Well, I suppose if you tilt your head sideways and squint, they do kind of look not offensive at all. So what else was banned?
Shots of dead children.
Isn't that just typical of Sydney's most famous light festival, always pushing their kids should be alive agenda? And one of these 2 artists to withdraw her work was South African photographer Jodie Bieber, and before you ask, no relation to her famous namesake. Now, Jodie Bieber is upset because her photo of a bare-breasted woman was removed from the exhibition.
If I look at all the photographs that are not allowed to be shown, I feel that there's a huge censorship.
Huge! Because as Ms. Bieber asks, how are your children going to be when they go out into the real world if they're not allowed to experience or see or make up their own mind about what happens in the world? Precisely! If not for the Vivid Art Show, where will our children ever have the chance to see a woman's naked breasts? It's not like you can just log on to www.theinternet.com and search, "Can I see boobs, please?" For more now on this debate between censorship and decency, we'll cross to our resident arts correspondent, Mark Humphries. Mark, is this censorship?
No, it's just bad management. Vivid asked Jodie Bieber for some pictures. She gave them some pictures. Now, they know what she's like, they've seen her other work, but when management saw these pictures, they were all like, "What the hell is this?" So she won't be participating in the outdoor exhibit of Vivid, which means the only way to see her is to go to her indoor event, which will most likely sell out.
Okay, what makes you think that?
1, boobs. 2, it's the censored artists that get the most attention. Look at Bill Henson. Before the scandal, you thought Bill Henson created the Muppets.
I didn't.
You did. But now, everyone knows him for his controversial photography. He's infamous. Censorship is the best thing that can happen to an artist short of cutting your ear off or dying of syphilis. Miss Bieber has effectively Van Goghed her way into the mainstream.
Yeah, but what about good art? Shouldn't that, rather than controversy alone, still be the measure of success for an artist?
There are a lot of good artists who put in the hard yards but never make it big because they aren't making headlines. Not me, though. I'm going to take naked photos of Bill Henson.
Well, that definitely won't get in.
Exactly. The only way to be remembered in Vivid is to not be in Vivid.
Right, well, good luck and good night.